The Ka, i.e. the universe outside this matrix, is matriarchal, while the matrix is patriarchal. In the Ka, beings live by the concept that everything is feminine in its origin, while on Earth, God is generally masculine. Those who have read the Wes Penre papers, WPP, know that I substantially wrote about this. Here, Enki is God, and in a sense, he is correct. He is, in certain terms, the creator of this matrix, and he is the overseer of his creation. In the Ka, the divine feminine, the all that is, or source, is the ultimate goddess, and the Queen of Orion is her in the direct manifested form. The Queen is the creatrix of universes and the overseer of her creations. Because of all the stigma among us humans when it comes to kings and queens, any mentioning of the Queen triggers bad experiences from within our matrix, where kings and queens are hierarchical rulers sitting on top, controlling and manipulating their citizens. Therefore, it's not so strange that the Orion Queen is often looked at by humans with very skeptical eyes. Oh no, not another ruler, not another hierarchy. Will this never end? I can guarantee that many readers of the WPP and visitors to this channel have had these thoughts. I can't blame you. Another thought people may have is that when they exit the matrix, they don't want to continue playing a similar game as we do here. It's too exhausting, traumatizing, and discouraging, and we are tired. Many, if not all, most of us, feel we need a break from all this. We just want to go to a place where we can rest and get away from all the hardship. We want to go home, which usually means going back to source or to a dimension where there is peace and freedom. Again, this is understandable, taking into consideration what we have gone through in this matrix. Let us discuss these subjects in this video. We'll start by discussing hierarchies. We, who are awakening, have seen through the structure of this matrix, and it's definitely a hierarchy, where the ordinary human is at the bottom. That's where we've placed ourselves. The many are ruled by the few, and most people accept this as normal. You and I know it's not normal. It's set up this way, and we have let ourselves being manipulated into believing we have no power. But the very few higher up in the hierarchy have more power than we do. We humans built this hierarchical structure after having been manipulated into believing that this was a good idea. We symbolize this hierarchical structure with a pyramid. And at the top of this, we have God/Enki. As we know, God requires worship, and He's a jealous God. This is our situation within the matrix, and this is basically all we know. Does it mean that things work the same outside the matrix in Orion? Ariel's and my conclusion is that it doesn't. To begin with, worship is a foreign concept in Orion. No one is worshipping the Queen. If they did, it would be a misunderstanding and she would correct them. As we discussed above, I think the key word here is Queen. It has too many negative associations because we've created those associations in this matrix. Even Goddess might have a bad ring to it, because if we worship a God/Enki, we assume that the goddess requires worship as well. In the case of the Queen, she does not. Even within matriarchal religions, they usually worship the Queen or the Divine Feminine, sometimes in the form of Mother Gaia, Earth. This is something that has developed after the invasion. Some original humans still remembered the old days to a certain degree and knew that the universe is feminine. But instead of just living according to this, worship eventually became a part of it. And so long as people worship, the energies go to the AIF anyway, whether we worship a female or a male deity. Before we continue, let's insert some linguistics. In Orion, queen and mother are interchangeable. In fact, the usual term used for the queen is ma. Thus, we have mama, mama, and mater, mother, etc. Words including ma are feminine in nature. Even words such as mature, which basically means getting to a point where we understand the feminine nature of the universe. In old Egyptians, we have the word Maat, and as everybody who has read the WPP is familiar with, Tiamat with 2 A's. This means mother, seen from a male perspective, which is represented by the T. This is Aryan, Orion language, which can be traced back to some degree in very ancient texts. Robert Morningsky, among others, did a fairly good job with that. Also, another title for Enki is Ea. See the Sumerian text. Ea became Yah, as in Yahweh, and Jehovah. Why is the queen considered being the mother in Orion? That's an easy question to answer. It's because she is the divine feminine, DF, manifested in the Ka. She is the creatrix, the mother. One symbol for Orion is the bee, as discussed in the Wes Penre papers, the second level of learning. This symbol was then hijacked by the Merovingian kings. But why the bee? The bee can be viewed as a metaphor. By the way, the beehive is not symbolizing a hive society, in case someone has had these thoughts. This is just more consequences of manipulation. The beehive represents the Ka, where each bee is contributing to the whole when collecting nectar for the hive. Everybody has their place in the community, and everybody is working in unison for an overall cause. In the middle of the hive, we have the queen, whom the rest of the bees nurture. The bee queen is of course the mother because she created the rest of the bees. If we look at this from a Ka perspective, the worker bees are the souls in the Ka, who are contributing to the overall expansion of the divine, collecting nectar/experiences, nurturing the queen / the DF, in a sense, by feeding her with experiences so we all can expand. The queen is the mother of all souls, manifesting herself in the Ka. Without the bee queen, there would be no bees, and without the Orion queen, as a direct representative of the DF, there would be no souls. With the above in mind, is there a hierarchy in this? No, it's not. There is no worship, and there is no rulership. The mother, the queen, is an overseer here in the Ka, and she is the ultimate creatrix. These are her roles. But like with any beehive, no one is more important than another. All souls are in this together and are all equally important for the overall expansion. Yes, there is an Orion Council, which is led by the mother, but it's not a hierarchical concept. One of its functions is to prevent severe violation of the rule set of the universe. Another function is to be of guidance for developing souls. Thus, what can we expect when we exit the matrix? Are we just moving from one construct to another, and after that, the pain and suffering starts all over again? In fact, I haven't seen any indications of this. Here in this matrix, we are allowed to create from the entire spectrum of emotions, and therefore we are facing a lot of conflicts. In the human experiment, no strings are attached. We can create as we please, but are still affected by the law of cause and effect, which we call karma. However, karma, as we know it, is another misconception. It's just a twisted and manipulated version of the law of cause and effect. In other words, we can freely create, but we need to take the consequences of our actions. If we don't take responsibility for our creations, what we create might get back and bite us in the back. In the Ka, only creator gods can create worlds, constructs, and be overseers of their own creations. Eventually, we can graduate to become overseers of entire galaxies and/or clusters thereof. Other soul groups need to experience their way up to become creators themselves, and therefore it's the creator god's responsibility to create worlds and constructs in which evolving souls can learn and experience. This is of course a big responsibility, and therefore it's important to have first-hand experiences as creator gods in order to create constructs that will actually expand the DF's knowingness about herself. Some look at this matrix as a school. The original experiment was meant to be a school for creator gods, but when Enki took over, it became so much more difficult. However, if we look at it objectively, it's still a school because we are constantly learning, at least those who are waking up. All this knowledge and experience is something we bring with us into the Ka, something we can use when we are creating out there. The more understanding we have for others, the better our creations will be. We have suffered tremendously, but looking at it from a positive viewpoint, it might one day be worth it for the greatest good of the entire creation, our common universe that we share with all other star races. We, the human soul group, were creator gods from the beginning, as mentioned in earlier videos, and the experiment was our school. However, we don't need to be creator gods in the Ka if we don't want to. We have a choice. We can do something entirely different if we wish. It's up to the individual. And if we need a break, it's perfectly fine to take one. However, our point is that I have seen no indication that the Ka is a trap. There is no death, no amnesia, and no containment. Souls are free to experience and learn whatever they wish to, wherever they want. Creation and experiences are supposed to be fun and exciting, but of course, even in the Ka, it's up to the individual. In the Ka, we have creation on at least two major levels. We have creation from the creator God's perspective, and we have creation from the overall soul's perspective, in that they learn by using the constructs the creator gods create. From our level of understanding, this is the basics of what we can expect after we exit the matrix. What do you, the visitor, think? Does this make sense? Do you have any comments you wish to share? If you consider the context of this video plausible, do you look forward to your life after the exit, or do you wish to do something else? If so, what would it be?